is anybody thinking about starting a company or has a new technology that they're thinking about potentially commercializing, and if they're asking themselves, is it too early for me to think about reimbursement? The answer is, capital N, capital capital O, no. It's really never too early. I mean, I wouldn't have said this maybe 10 years ago, but it's just a different world now, in the U.S. certainly. And for people to think about the economics as being inextricably linked to the endpoints of their original clinical trials, because in reality, that's the truth. They are going to be inextricably linked, whether you like it or not, because those endpoints are going to determine how you commercialize, and how you commercialize are going to determine your positioning, and your positioning is going to determine how you can actually extract or discover, in some cases, depending on your planning aheadness, the economic value associated with that positioning. And so you really can't think about it too early in terms of your economic story for Medicare or for any other payer. I think the second thing is to really have the discussion. Don't shy away from being very, very open with medical directors, either at Medicare or at commercial health plans. Certainly they can refuse to see you, I suppose, but you should be doing everything you can to talk to them, because they are going to control a considerable amount of your fate as an innovator. So understanding that customer's needs and understanding what they are trying to do and their health plan, or what they are trying to do for patients, is incredibly important, and respecting that, not viewing them as the enemy, view them as a partner, because if you can provide a service or a product into a health plan that is helping them deliver better care, and you can also take on the challenge of providing that better care at savings to the health plan because you have worked towards that from the beginning, that's going to be a collaboration in the best of worlds that works out for everybody, and hopefully also, of course, patients at the end. I think the data wins. I mean, at the end of the day, data wins, and logic will prevail, despite all evidence to the contrary sometimes at the end of the day, depending on how your day has gone. But I think that, if you are really methodical about the data you produce, and about the data that you produce meeting the customer needs that you are actually trying to sell to, and in this case that is healthcare providers and it is healthcare plans and Medicare, you've got to be very focused on meeting the needs in a bullseye. I think ultimately you can have success. Is it harder? It's much harder than it used to be. There's no question about it. I think in part we are also at a temporal challenge right now, in that we're watching healthcare reform play out as ACA gets implemented. And change is hard. Change can be stagnating because you want to see how X, Y, or Z factors play out before you take a stand. At the same time, I think change creates opportunity. I think in our case, there's an incredible opportunity and need to have a better solution that is more cost-effective and cost-saving for the system to identify our patients in primary care who don't have obstructive coronary disease. You can't do that today with imaging because it's not generally in primary care. So in our case, with the empowerment of primary care post-ACA, that's created an incredible opportunity for us. And so while we go through this change, and while we argue to payers, and while we get reimbursement, I say all that in all seriousness as those are serious challenges. But we also have a lot of opportunity created by the healthcare reform process and what's gone on. So, think of change not just as a challenge, but as an opportunity, and try to take advantage of those opportunities as you're going through your commercialization process.